I had a forwarding address for years, and so all of those things.
When I spoke to your mom and or your sister, and I don't remember which one I spoke to or both.
I really don't. I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't have given you my information to send to me directly, because they had my addresses too, and plus the post offices. I had everything forwarding.
Deborah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to explain to you the situation. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not my job, number one, to make contact with you and keep in contact with you. Okay.
Oh well, I don't. When I have but you had a. Well, I think it is because let me talk for a second. Let me talk for a second. What did my mom and my sister say? Why didn't they?
You were at a facility in Minnesota.
I had a forwarding address that both of them knew where I was at.
They didn't tell me the name of the facility. They didn't tell me the name of the facility. They didn't say...
Facility? I don't understand what you're talking about. There was no facility involved. I had an address where I was renting, and I was helping take care of my dad who has Alzheimer's. My mother, I was staying with my mother. So, a facility? I don't understand what you're saying.
Did she ever tell you that I spoke with her?
No, she never told me. She spoke with you, and neither did my sister. I'm estranged from both of them. I don't talk to them anymore. Okay, and there's very, very good reasons for that. Okay, so second of all, I had a forwarding address the entire time of all my mail forwarding from Long Lake to where I was at, where I was renting.
You didn't put any. Deborah, you didn't put any address on your application.
I never got the application. I never got any application. I never knew you were my court-appointed representation, first of all.
I have well, that's odd to me because I have a court-appointed application. I have a court-appointed application.
I never received it.
No. You would have had to have filled it out.
I never filled anything out. I never even knew who you were. I had never even heard of your name. Ever.
Sure. Let me pull it up again.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like both of us are trying to figure this out together, and I'm not trying to fight with you, but my mom and my sister, my mother and my sister are very dangerous people, and there's reasons why I don't speak to them anymore. And what did they say to you?
Like I said, I truly don't remember, ma'am. All I have is an email between myself and the prosecutor saying, I haven't been able to reach you. I did talk to your mom and your sister, and they said you were in Minnesota. I do have an application.
Well, I was staying right with my mother, helping take care of my dad until he died from Alzheimer's.
Sure.
Yeah, right at her address in Brooklyn Park. So it doesn't make any sense that she would have no information on me.
I'm looking at an application for court-appointed attorney right
Uh-huh.
now. It says, I'm responding to a so-called phone call that I have a case on April 16th. I was never served any paperwork. And then the rest of it's filled out. And then at least it appears to be signed by somebody with your name on the bottom on April 10th of 2019.
No, I never signed anything. I never even knew I had any kind of representation of any kind. And I never signed that. I never even heard of you. I had no idea I had any representation of any kind.
Yeah. I don't know. I can certainly try to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah. I've requested with Austin Hoffman. What's gone on with him so far is that I was told originally to go through the state's attorney, and so I said, okay, and I said, well, I'm trying to request the discovery footage from Austin Hoffman, and he as a prosecuting attorney should have been able to provide that to me, and he never did. And I have email documentation between both of us where I requested it 3 times, and I have the video footage myself personally. That I was not disorderly of any kind, is that I left when everybody else left, and I can send you the footage, and I've actually got it right on my YouTube channel as well, that's already received like 1,500 views. So I don't know where they're even getting this information that I was disorderly of any kind.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question, Deb. Do you want an attorney to assist you with this case? Because it doesn't sound like you ever asked for it, so I don't know how I ever got it assigned.
Yeah, and you might be in the middle of this nonsense like I am, and I'm sorry for this, okay? But no, well, obviously I do want, I would like some representation because what Sheriff Ackerman served me the other day on February 10th was not signed by any kind of a judge. It was signed by a judge from 2018, Scott Myron, not a current judge. So to me, this doesn't even seem like a real serve. And I don't know how I'm supposed to be.
He is still a judge. He's a Supreme Court judge.
He's not assigned to this district though. And it wasn't a current. It wasn't the paperwork he sent to me, which I can send to you, was signed in 2018. Okay, I mean, what is the statute of limitation in South Dakota for a misdemeanor?
Well, the statute of limitations was charged out. The fact that you weren't served.
I was never served.
For 8 years.
Yeah.
You may have a claim there.
They have. Who has a claim there? Who has a claim?
You.
I have a claim against them. I was never served. No. And I've been providing the email correspondence with Austin Hoffman, the state's attorney, and requesting the state's footage for years.
Okay.
And also requesting a remote court date because I was out of state, and I said I don't feel safe. Okay, look, we have 8. Just to let you know, we have 8 sworn statements written by different neighbors of felonies that have been committed in that county. And I served, and I submitted them to Judge Tony Portra and Magistrate Judge Mark Anderson. And I said, we are in severe danger here. I had no idea when I bought this house that this area was so dangerous. And so we submitted 8 sworn statements of felonies that have happened. And just so you know, And I didn't know about anything about this until there was that murder that happened in town. So I moved there, and I just bought the house from my friend who has been a friend for 20 years, named Paul Klebs, and I bought the house there, and on a estate auction because I knew his family, like an auction, a family estate auction. Okay, and then all that happened, just so you know, I mean, is that this one guy who became friends of mine, named Jimmy Cole, he said, look, this is kind of a dangerous area. I just want to let you know as your friend, you might not want to go out at night and different things like that. And Jimmy was murdered a week later after telling me that. And Jimmy was murdered, and the sheriff is trying to cover it up like it wasn't a murder, and we all know it was a murder. And then, then I filed a federal lawsuit. We filed a federal lawsuit, myself and Bruce and a couple other neighbors, with our sworn statements. And then right after that, he filed this state charge against me. And so, and by law, according to federal law, we still haven't been allowed to have our federal court date. And under federal law, we're allowed under the supremacy law, which I looked up. I'm not an attorney. I don't know everything, but I mean, I should be allowed to have that because that was filed first. So I don't know. I guess.
Have you ever had an appearance in federal court?
No, we've never been allowed to have a court date, and since 2018 we filed it. We filed our federal court date before his state court date, and that is supremacy. That should be held, before. We were allowed to have our federal court date because federal law supersedes and precedes any state charges, and he did it right after, like immediately after he started filing federal state charges against me, which is like direct retaliation. So I mean, right? I don't know what to do. What do you think? Well, I don't know. Is your opinion as an attorney? What do you think at this point?
Well, I just asked, is the federal case still pending?
Yes, we've been trying to reopen it. Because so originally Bruce and I tried. We filed it together along with a couple other neighbors. We submitted all kinds of sworn statements. It's all in the federal court. You can Davis and all versus McPherson County. It's right in the federal court docket. You can look it up right in Google. And then Bruce got kind of scared because Rodney was harassing us. We were being harassed. Like they had deputies like driving around harassing us. This sheriff is really terrifying. We're really terrified of him. And so then Bruce said, "Oh my God, I'm kind of freaked out right now." So then we temporarily dismissed it, but it was dismissed without prejudice, meaning that we wanted to reopen it later. And then we've been trying to reopen it since 2019. And we've never been allowed to have any kind of court date. Yeah.
Okay. Looks like you just recently filed a motion to reopen it.
Well, no, we filed originally. We tried to reopen it in 2019, and they said, and then he dismissed it, saying we never replied to some kind of correspondence. Bruce and I never received any correspondence. Like you said, nobody's ever sent me in the mail. Like, I have my address forwarding with the U.S. Post Office. I don't understand why I never received anything in the mail. I've had a forwarding address for years.
Are you still in contact with Bruce?
Yes, Bruce and I have been trying to reopen it since 2019.
Okay. The reason I ask is because the most recent filing, which would have been done, looks like February 12th, it just has your name on it.
Yes, but he's the other plaintiff, and we paid together. We paid $400 and together, and he has also been trying to open this, and he's filing his documentation today. He's been trying to file it. He just, we're not lawyers, so we don't exactly know how to do it. File the motion, try to reopen it, but he doesn't understand why he was never sent anything in the mail and why we never got our court date. He said, well, I never received any correspondence, and I don't understand why he dismissed it to begin with. Why didn't we ever get our court date? Yes, he's been trying to file it with me. He's one of the ones who had this huge sworn statement that we submitted together. It's the felonies. We've had felonies happen to us in this town. Just trying to live there. They've harassed his meter. They've adjusted his meter. He's got to check on his meter. He's had people come on his lawn and move the pole or something, or multiple different things. So all of these 8 sworn statements were submitted to Tony Poltra. I don't know if he's still a lawyer here or judge here. And Mark Anderson. I don't know. These were just judges that I was told are fairly decent judges.
I recognize, yeah.
I don't really know.
Yeah, neither one of them are still judges, but...
Neither one of them are still judges here?
They both retired.
Oh, okay. Well, so those were the people that we tried to reach out to years ago that we were told were fairly decent lawyers and maybe, could take a look at our case. And we were never responded to in any way. That is what my side of the story, what's happened, So, I don't know what happens at, I shouldn't have to be forced into a state court date when I've never been allowed to have my federal case, because this is direct retaliation, like I said.
Yeah. So, are you now in South Dakota? You must have been in Minnesota for a while.
Yeah, I'm in South Dakota, and I was just at your office there.
I know, my told me.
And I'm certainly not trying to be mean or accuse you of anything, because I think there's a lot of misunderstandings here. But I'm terrified of these people, and we have a right to have our federal court date against them because according to federal law, it is supposed to take precedence.
So, and I should have asked my question better. I apologize. Do you
at my house because I thought this was all dismissed. I thought this was past the statute.
Well, it's the filing of the charges that has to be within the statutory time period. Once the charges have been filed, they can hang out there. I just got a call a few weeks ago from somebody who's had a case pending for longer than you have.
I've never been served. And that's a total violation of all kinds of laws against me. And this is way past any kind of misdemeanor statute. Huh?
I don't want to pick on you. But I thought you said that the sheriff came and gave you paperwork here recently.
Yeah, just recently. But what's the state statute?
Again, the statute of limitations only refers to the filing of the charges. The charges were filed in whatever they were, 2018 or 2019.
Okay, so how and that's way past any kind of misdemeanor statute.
2018 or 2019?
Yeah, so how a misdemeanor should only be on your record for a year.
I'm not sure where you draw that conclusion from, but when you ask me a question of how long the statute of limitations is, for most misdemeanors it's 7 years, but the triggering point of the statute of limitations, or the satisfaction of the statute of limitations, is when the charges are filed. So if the incident occurred in September of 2018, the charges have to be filed within 7 years of September of 2018. Your charges were filed, again, in 2018 or 2019, so the statute of limitations would not have expired.
What? Say that again. Explain that.
I think what you're getting, the filing of the charges satisfies the statute of limitations.
Oh, I don't understand. A misdemeanor only lasts for about a year on your record.
Yeah, you said that before. I don't know exactly what context you're referring to there. A misdemeanor arrest stays on a person's record unless they get it expunged, which can only take place if the case is either gone to trial and a not guilty verdict has been found.
Okay, why have I never been allowed to have a remote court date, which I've requested 5 times?
And I'm not laughing at you. I just understand what you're saying. I can't answer that question. Why nobody granted you that request?
Nobody granted me the request to have a remote court date.
I know. I'm saying I can't. I'm not privy to why they wouldn't give you one.
Well, I think there's about every violation you can possibly imagine against the state of South Dakota here. With my due process. You're violating my due process in every possibly way. It's called 5th and 14th Amendment rights.
Yeah, for sure.
I've not had any due process. I've had an address attached, forwarding address attached for years. I've never been provided any court documents to respond to. Never.
Yeah. A question for you that again. How were you aware that there was a court filing?
How was I aware there was a court filing?
Yeah.
Because
you were exchanging emails with Austin Hoffman. You said, how did you know that there was a case?
How did I know there was a case? Because because I heard about it from somebody else that told me.
Okay. Because you had said you asked for a remote court appearance.
I was told by somebody else. I was told by somebody else that wasn't even a lawyer or anything that this sheriff had filed a case against me. Okay, this is not due process. This is not real law. This is not due process of any kind. I was told by another person that's not even a lawyer or anything that I had a case against me.
That's what prompted, and is that what prompted you to reach out to Austin Hoffman?
Yes.
Okay. That makes sense. I just was curious.
So why was I not allowed a court date, and why was I not provided any documentation of any kind that I was supposed to respond to?
I don't know. Those would be good questions for the state's attorney.
Okay, so I should not have to. Scott Byron is not a judge, no longer presiding judge in this district. And that is not a current court paperwork that I was served the other day.
Okay.
It's not a valid. It shouldn't have to go to court because it's not a valid. He's not a valid judge. I've already asked, and they said he's no longer a judge in this district. So it's not. It hasn't been signed. It wasn't signed, and plus on top of it, it says PR bond. And Sheriff Dave Ackerman forced me to pay $250 to bond myself out for some bogus charge I never even knew about. Does that sound like real law and real law-abiding sheriffs and people to you?
I'm not sure that you like my answer.
Well, you think it's real? You think this is real to you because you were obviously assigned to my situation for a reason. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say that I was assigned to your situation because of the application that was filled out and filed.
I never filed any application. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yep, I know we covered that already.
Yeah, we covered that already. So really, what is going on here in the state of South Dakota? You just get away with filing false charges against people, and we have absolutely no due process. That's really the conclusion that we're coming to at this point.
Do you have an email address that I could email this to you?
Email what?
This application.
What application?
The application for court-appointed attorneys.
But if I'm going to be signed a court-appointed attorney that I don't really know, and what happens at this initial court date?
The first court appearance is where the judge tells you what you're charged with, what your rights are, what your possible fees are, and what the maximum punishment is.
Okay, and which I, of course, am plead not guilty because I was never even knew about the charges, and I was never even allowed a court date. Don't want to go into his courtroom, and that is the whole reason, because he's terrifying, and I have a federal law. Not only do I have a federal lawsuit against him, the sheriff, I have a federal restraining order. Are you aware of that? I submitted a federal restraining order against this sheriff, so I shouldn't I shouldn't at all be allowed to go anywhere near that court. It's for the federal lawsuit against him.
Okay.
You can't force me to go to the court because I have a pending federal restraining order against him.
I got all your mail. They wanted to get rid of it. Yeah, really.
Yeah, again, you may not like...
well, you should look at the federal case that I have against him. Are you aware of everything that's involved?
If the case is dismissed, then whatever potential restraining order that might have existed is also likely dismissed.
I'll be back.
But nobody has ever responded. The federal judge has never responded to our restraining order when we're in severe danger here. So you call that really a real judge?
Well, I got it. I've taken care of it already.
And real law? Because that's not what I call this. I call this some kind of railroaded motion where I'm forced to go into a corrupt court with a corrupt sheriff with none of my due process at all. That's what I call this.
But I got it all wrapped up. Don't worry.
Yep, I do see the restraining order portion that you filed.
Yes.
I don't know. Let me see if the judge ever replied or dealt with it.
sworn statements, this should have been more than enough reason to provide us a restraining order. So we're dealing with, that's why we filed a motion to reopen it and a motion to recuse this judge.
Do you want me to send you a copy of this decision?
I think I already saw it at the federal courts. I was already there at the federal court. But, you know, there...
You just referenced not seeing it, so I asked.
Well, you can send it to me. My email, ormewater@gmail.com.
Okay. I'll forward it to you today. So, I just want to confirm again, because with the new judge and everything like that, are you looking for a court-appointed attorney to help with this case?
Well, I can't have no representation, can I? And I've been trying to get some kind of representation, and nobody so far will take my case in the whole town here. So, and I can't have no, and you can't allow me to have no representation at all, because that's illegal too. I've been provided no representation of any kind.
Nobody's saying you can't have an attorney. Sometimes people want to represent themselves, and so that's what I was asking: is are you looking for an attorney to assist with these criminal cases in McPherson County?
I am looking for an attorney, the attorney that I can trust.
Okay. Probably the best case or the best solution for this, ma'am, is for me to reach out to Judge McGarrett. He is the judge in McPherson County.
But he never signed the paperwork for this warrant, so he never signed this current warrant, and it's not a valid warrant. There's no signature from him.
I know you said that, but